Hey, and welcome to this video lesson. Today I want to talk to you about how you can use chord inversions to make your chord progressions, especially when it comes to writing interesting power chord progressions, a bit more engaging. With chord inversions, we reorder the notes of our chords. This means we no longer play the root note as the lowest note, but instead, for example, the third, the fifth, or later even other intervals. In this video, I want to limit things to very simple power chord inversions that use either a major or a minor third as the first note. I'll keep the examples fairly straightforward and always include tablature, so it'll be easy for you to get this style of playing down, even if you haven't been playing guitar for very long. But the main goal here is to immediately get creative with these chords, not just to practice exercises or recreate well-known songs that also use this technique. Our first example, therefore, isn't based on any specific song, but rather on the way Jimi Hendrix used the concept of chord inversions with major chords in many of his tunes. For this, we'll start with this C power chord in the 3rd and 5th frets on the A, D, and G strings and establish that we're dealing with C major. This means we now want to play the major third E in the bass. And what Jimi Hendrix often did was this. After briefly hitting the power chord, he would slide from the 2nd to the major third with his ring finger and then fret the 5th and the octave with an index finger bar. Once you got that motion down, you can freely decide whether you want to simply keep strumming the chord or whether you want to embellish it with a few single note lines. Very much in the style of Jimi Hendrix and later many other guitarists who were definitely influenced by him. So it's either or a mixture of both. Once you get used to this, you can also try integrating this type of major chord inversion into your own style without necessarily sounding like Jimi Hendrix. How could you do that? Maybe you've already written a few chord progressions or even songs that have certain rhythms or a particular tempo and so on. Try taking some of the major chords in those progressions and replacing one or more of them with this inversion. Or write something completely new, but try it in a different style than Jimi Hendrix. So not blues-based rock, but maybe something like an acoustic singer-songwriter piece, or even metal chord progressions. Which brings me to the next approach. Especially in metal, the focus tends to be less on major chords and much more on minor chords. And even in modern hard rock, minor chords and minor key progressions are more the rule than the exception. Back in the day, this was also the reason I started thinking about how to integrate chord inversions into my own style without immediately sounding like or being accused of copying Jimi Hendrix. And this is where minor chord inversions come into play. To stay in the same key, let's now take an A power chord, which, since we're still in the key of C major, is based on an A minor chord. After hitting the chord, we'll slide up a half step from the major second to the minor third, this time with the middle finger, giving us this chord shape. Again, you have the option of playing a rhythm with this or writing riff based on this inversion. Of course, singer-songwriters can also make great use of minor-based chord inversions, or you might use them in styles like funk or even blues. Especially with power chord progressions, when you're trying to sound original, it's easy to fall into the trap of taking paths that are way too overused, simply because almost everything has already been done with basic power chords. Adding a few clever inversions, both major and minor, can quickly make things sound fresh again. Here are a few examples. So if I take this simple A5, C5 and D5 chord progression, we're still in A minor, C major, so it would be A minor, C major, and then D minor. I could either play it like this, or like this. I could also add a few more single notes. In the end, it always comes down to how you combine these simple chords with different rhythms, whether you add single note lines or maybe you incorporate other interesting techniques. The last couple examples were of course a bit more demanding, and if you're still at the beginning of your musical journey and are just starting to get creative and write songs, simply see them as a preview of what's to come. For now, work with the technical tools you already have. The most important thing in songwriting is always experimentation. And that's it for this guitar lesson. I hope you had fun and were able to learn a lot. Leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss any of my new videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.